What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Punk Rock Radar. We're going to do episode 7 today of Off the Radar, which is underrated, underappreciated, or unknown punk rock bands or albums. I'm joined today by Dylan from DyingScene.com, aka Screeching Bottle Rocket, and he's brought the heat today. He's got a hell of a list. I was like stoked to see some of these albums on there. But Dylan, how are you feeling today?
I feel awesome now that I'm not at work.
Same here, man. Yeah, we're doing this 7:30 Eastern time. We both wrapped up work. We're ready to get into some punk rock albums. So Dylan, why don't you talk about what's your first one you got coming up for us?
My first pick is Skin of Tears. These guys are from Germany. They're really fucking good, man. They've been around almost 30 years, I want to say. This is, I think it's like their second or third album. It's called Out of Line. If you're into like 90s skate punk, this came out in 2001, by the way. If you're into like old school skate punk, like Epitaph, Fat Records type stuff, these guys are definitely up your alley. Like, this is one of the best skate punk albums I never hear anybody talk about. There's also, if you like ska, there's some ska songs on it too, or some songs that are like half ska, half skate punk. But these guys, like, they write really good choruses. Like, I don't skip any of the songs when I listen to this album. It's really good. So definitely check out Out of Line, as well as their newest album, which I think is called...
One of these three?
It's called Fake My Day. Fake My Day is really good too. But start with Out of Line. I think this is like overall their best album.
Yeah, this is a band that's been recommended to me so many times over the years, especially since I started the channel. But I'm really glad that you put it up because it gave me a chance to go back and listen. I already dropped 2 of these songs on my playlist. This is a great skate punk album. Terrible album art. But,
yeah, it's pretty bad. A few of their albums have pretty bad art.
Yeah, but all right, guys, this is going to be Out of Line. Band is Skin of Tears. Make sure and check them out. There's going to be a link down below to the playlist. It's going to have one song from each album. So yeah, go check it out. Here's a clip from Skin of Tears. All right, so my pick is going to be Denver Harbor and their one and only full-length album. This is called Scenic from 2004. And I think probably almost everybody watching this channel is at least aware of Phoenix TX, but I think a lot of people maybe aren't aware of what Will, the singer, did afterwards. So Phoenix TX put out Lechuza, their final album, in 01 or 02. And Lechuza was kind of like a mishmash of a couple styles. There were some pop punk songs, there were some ballads, there were some like metal influenced songs. And this album kind of follows that. It doesn't have like your hardcore metal style songs that Lechuza did. It has like a lot of fast, straightforward rock songs and then some like ballady songs. But the 2 songs I want to point out are the first 2 here, Xenophobia and Picture Perfect Wannabe. Both like really, really like fast ripper songs. Like I feel like if you can get through these 2 songs and you're not into it, it's a pretty safe bet that you're not going to like the album. But like later on, Satisfied is a great song, and it's either 26 or 27. I'm not sure. One of these is really good. The other is meh, but definitely go check this out if you're a fan of Phoenix TX. It's like good early 2000s pop punk rock alternative style. But yeah, I'm gonna play. I haven't decided which one I'm gonna play yet. Probably Picture Perfect Wannabe because that was the single. But yeah, Dylan, you ever heard these guys before? Denver Harbor?
I have never heard of this in my life, and I was really surprised to see it says 2004.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna check these guys out.
Yeah, this was like directly after the demise of Phoenix TX. It's definitely worth checking out if you like that.
I actually never listened to Phoenix TX beyond their self-titled album, whatever the one with the blue cover is. So
yeah, dude, you should listen to Lechuza too, man. That's an underrated album. Like the heavy songs on there are pretty neat.
Yeah, I'll definitely start with this. This looks cool. The cover art's nice.
All right, so this is Denver Harbor, guys. Let me know what you think. Again, playlist down below.
All right, my next pick is Drunk in Public. I don't know where these guys are from, but they definitely have had a West Coast like epithet kind of punk sound. Um, Kind of reminds me a little of Blink 182, but a lot of RKL kind of shit going on, especially with the bass lines. There's a lot of like real funky, like slap bass kind of stuff going on throughout the album. But if you're into like that, like old school, like mid '90s Fearless stuff, then this is definitely an album you want to check out if you haven't already. And considering how low their like listener count is on Spotify, I feel like most people probably haven't heard this. Um, but yeah, this is a really, really good album that I think a lot of people probably haven't heard, which is surprising considering, the quality of bands Fearless was putting out in this era.
What would your song pick be for someone who hasn't heard? Because I've seen this album cover before. I've definitely heard of this band. I'm following them, but what would you
Yeah.
say like your standout
Well,
tracks are?
well, Enemies is like their comp song. Like it was on the Fearless comps. I think it was on like Punk Bites or whatever, that one with
Yeah,
that fucking terrible cover art
the
is.
cereal bowl or
Yeah, the
the
kid with like the fucked up face. So yeah, I would say Enemies is probably the most like accessible song on the album. But I don't remember them by name, but there's a lot that have that more experimental kind of like breakdowns with the crazy bass lines that I think are cooler. But like just in as a whole, it's a really good album.
All right, guys. So we're gonna play a clip now. This is "Drunk in Public." Link down below. All right, so my second pick is going to be by The Fad. This is Kill Punk Rockstars from 2008. And this is like a mix of like ska core and like heavier punk. The vocals kind of remind me of like early RX Bandits, and then the music is reminiscent of like Flatliners, a little bit of Suicide Machines. And when this had come out, I don't know if it was like a regional thing, but it was pretty popular, like at least by me. I think they're from New York and New Jersey. I probably should have checked beforehand, but where I think this like really shines is the faster songs like Kill Punk Rock Stars. And then the best song on here is What the Hell Does Rant Mean? That's probably the clip I'm going to play. But the whole album is like really neat. There's fast songs, ska songs. It's kind of like a little bit all over the place, but this is like the kind of ska punk that I really enjoy. So I'm going to play, like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to play the What the Hell Does Rant Mean? But they put out another EP that in 2019, I did not know this existed until we decided to do this episode. So I can't say whether or not this is good, but I'm definitely going to check it out. But Dylan, what do you think? You ever heard of these guys before?
I have not, but what you described sounds like something I would be into. So
It's killer,
uh,
man. It's worth it.
even though they could potentially be from New York, I'll check it out.
Let's see.
Oh, they got a bio.
There you go, Bong Island, New York.
You know a band is legit when they got a Spotify. They actually fill out their Spotify bio.
It's even better when they have like the Instagram links. That I look for that every Friday, and I'm always. But yeah, there you go. Punk ska hardcore reggae. There you go, from your neighborhood pothead. So this is The Fad. Let me know what you think.
Alrighty, my third pick is all the way from Scotland, the Lemonades. These guys, these are if you're into like old school pop punk, like 90s pop punk, definitely the Lemonades are the band for you. Especially if you like that Don't Back Down era Queers. All the songs on this album, which by the way is both of their full length albums, like combined into one for Spotify for some reason. All the songs on this album are about surfing and beaches and shit, which I don't know if they actually have beaches in Scotland. But these guys are really good at writing songs about surfing and beaches and the related subject matter. So, so this is two albums. Back to the Beach is my favorite of the two, and it starts at whatever track number Back to the Beach, the song is. So track number 11. Um, so if you had to choose between the two halves of this compilation type thing, I would listen to that one.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've heard of these guys. I have the Sugar Bomb EP, but I've never listened to this, so it's something for me to check out. But yeah, guys, we're gonna play a clip of Cherry Cola after this. So let us know what you think, and there'll be a link to the playlist down below. All right, so my third pick is going to be, apparently we're looking at this now, apparently not unknown or underrated because the first song on there is 1.5 million plays. But anyway, it's too late now. We're going to go into it. But this is Mute, this is Thunder Blast, and I'm picking this because I just don't think there's a lot of bands around right now that do this style so well. Like, this album has like incredible guitar playing. Like, the riffs are sick. Some of the solos are insane. Um, then you've got like these big catchy choruses on top of that. Like, the only band I could really think that like does this style would be like Strung Out, but I think like I don't know, man. Like, I like this album like better than a lot of what Strung Out has put out recently, especially these first two tracks. And I know Bates Motel is 1.5 million, but I actually like Wolf's Den better. That's my favorite track from this album. That's the clip I'm gonna play. And if you guys like big guitar solos and technical guitar playing, this is the punk rock album for you. And like, just look, 1.5 million plays on a skate punk song. So if that doesn't like put a blip on your radar, I really don't know what will. But Dylan, I know you know these guys. What do you think of this record?
Uh, these guys and like Belvedere are two of the best
Yeah.
Canadian punk bands. And I would say Mute is probably like one of the most like technically proficient punk bands like ever. Another good, not to like one up you, but there's a band called Forus or For Us,
Oh, yeah.
Forus. They kind of like copy Mute quite a bit, and they get pretty close. They play pretty tight too. But yeah, if you like really like technical, like melodic punk, like the guys know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to playing their instruments. Like Mute is like the premier band in that field, I would say.
Yeah, I know that Forest band. They have like the white album cover with the guy's head on it.
With the gas mask or
Yeah,
whatever.
it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of the Under Oath album. But yeah, that's another great pick. But yeah, guys, this is Mute. I'm gonna play Wolf's Den. If it doesn't blow your face off, check your pulse, and there will be a link down below.
All right, my next pick is an Austrian band, another European band. I like European punk bands. These guys are called 7 Years Bad Luck. I think John here, maybe he told me he featured another one of their releases, a split with who was it?
Dorkatron. Yeah.
Dorkatron, I've never actually listened to those guys, so I'll have to check them out. But anyway, this is their most recent full length album. It's getting a little long in the tooth now. It came out 5 years ago. Um, I think this is their best album, honestly. These guys have been around for like 20 years or something, but I think this is their best album. It has kind of like the album I would compare it to most is Reactionary by Face to Face.
Yeah, it's a good
I
one.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. Like, maybe the production or something, or how the bass sounds. Which you're gonna hear how the bass sounds in the preview clip I chose, which is the opener, No Control. I really like how the bass sounds on this album. The songwriting is like really, really solid. And yeah, I mean, if you had to choose a 7 Years Bad Luck album to start with, this would definitely be the one I would recommend. And then you can work backwards from there. But overall, like, I think this is the best thing they've done. And apparently they're recording a new album, so hopefully that comes soon, because these guys are super solid. And I mean, they have like 100 Spotify listeners. Like, that is an injustice.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, Dylan, I'm 100% on board with this pick. I've got 3 songs from here on my playlist. I love Paper Cuts, Blackheart, Takes One to Know One, killer album. I think the other 2 is just 2 more. This is the split I featured, another killer album. But yeah, if 7 Years, Bad Luck has a new album in the works, it's gonna be on my most anticipated list for sure. Great pick. Here's a clip of No Control. All right, pick number 4 for me. This is a little bit of a slower album than I typically pick. I normally go for the skate punk, pop punk stuff, but I'm going a little bit of mid 2000s kind of emo punk. And this is No Motive, their album Daylight Breaking. And this album, I believe, I'm not super familiar with this band. I believe this is their last album, and it's more of a departure from the earlier stuff, which was kind of more traditional emo punk. But this one kind of broke them into the mainstream a little bit. It's kind of rock focused. And how I heard of this album was the song Into Darkness, which is far and away the best track on here, was on the Burnout 3 Takedown soundtrack for Xbox. One of my all-time favorite games when I was younger. So I picked this up and I really like it. I think Independence Day is a great song. I think Grey Notes Fall is a decent song, but I mean, Into Darkness just rips. I mean, it's a game where it's a song that's in a game where you're crashing cars. So it's got good energy to it. And the band I would kind of compare this to, and I'm going to compare them to one of my all time favorite bands. So take it with a grain of salt. But I think like Unwritten Law, especially around the 2000s, like I think Elva is one of the best records of all time. And this is kind of like Unwritten Law light ish. So like if you like them, if you like that style, I definitely think this is worth a shot, especially the first 3 songs. Dylan, you ever heard of these guys, No Motive?
I have, the name is definitely familiar. Burnout 3 is one of my fucking favorite games of all time, man. So I probably heard this song a lot on the soundtrack to that game
Mhm.
because I played it like every day after school for like 5 years. Um, but I've never sought out their music or anything. But the name is definitely familiar, and in all likelihood, I've heard at least that one song that you mentioned.
Yeah, dude. I remember I don't know if it was Burnout 3 or Burnout 4, which I think was called Revenge. There was like that
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne song, Boyfriend. And even that, I don't know what it is. Like every song on the Burnout albums, it just sounded good to me just because you're driving around crashing cars, having a blast. So that's why I picked this up. I'm gonna play Into the Darkness. Let me know what you think. If you like it, hit the Spotify link down below. Check out more stuff by these guys. Decent band. I think they were on Fearless or Vagrant Records back in the day. So yeah, go check it out. This is No Motive.
Alrighty, my 5th and final pick is actually the only one. So I collect records. This is the only one of my picks that I own on vinyl. The Jetty Boys. These guys are great, man. I thought they were from New Jersey for some reason. They're actually from Wisconsin, so that's not quite New Jersey. But yeah, man, like this was released. When was this released? 2013.
Yeah.
It's on Eccentric Pop Records, which is like the fucking second coming of Lookout Records as far as I'm concerned. Travis, the dude who runs the label, has a real ear for great pop punk. If you're into Lookout Records, pop punk, Screeching Weasel, The Queers, etc., the Jetty Boys are top fucking notch, man. This album was recorded with at Matt Drastic from Teen Idols, and he plays for Less Than Jake now. The drummer. It was recorded at his recording studio. Guitars sound awesome. The vocals are really good. The singer has a really unique voice. Yeah, just super solid album. One little quirk about the Spotify version of the album, the track listing is wrong. They like skipped one of the tracks or something, I think. So after like the 3rd track, every song after that has like the song before its title attached to it. Like it's kind of fucked up.
I hate that.
Um, so I don't know what went wrong there, but this is a really, really, really good album, man. Like Eccentric Pop does not put out shit, and this album is no exception. This is one of my favorite albums of the 2010s. Um, I think you mentioned you were gonna include this in your list, or you heard of these guys before. What was the story there?
Yeah, I really like these guys too. And I don't know if you're gonna disagree with me or not. But the vocals remind me a little of Billy Joe Armstrong on some
Yeah, a little
songs,
bit.
right? I mean, I
Or
don't,
yeah, a little bit.
especially on Playing Around. That's the first song I heard by them. I have that on my playlist. But this is the second band you've done with the song about cherry colas too. So you got
Oh, it is.
you
I
you,
didn't even make the connection.
you got to type in.
It's a conspiracy.
I also thought they were from New Jersey. I don't know if it's because Jetty sounds like Jersey, but I thought the same thing. But
I don't know why I thought that.
yeah, so we're gonna play "Wasted in the Basement." If you like
Fuck
it,
yeah.
click the link, check it out. We both recommend this album, so you know it's good. But here we go. This is Jetty Boys.
Go and take it all away, 'cause it doesn't matter anymore. Waste.
All right, guys, last band for me, definitely not least. This is an absolute killer album. 2003. This is Darling Daisy. Can I Get a Whoop Whoop? Don't let the terrible name discourage you, because I wouldn't blame you if it did, but just hear me out here. I found this band on innerpunk.com way back in the day. And I could be remembering this wrong because it was 20 years ago, but I could swear they used to have like a little feature on the left side of the page where you could search by band's influences when, when there was like customization, when you could send in your CDs to Interpunk. I don't know what's up with Interpunk. I know it still exists, but
When they fulfilled orders.
yeah, I don't know what capacity. Yeah, I've heard people waiting eight months or never to get their albums, but anyway, in 2003, this was the spot, man. This is where I got so many albums. And at the time, I think I mentioned this a few times before. It's also how I found Second Shot. But I was looking for bands that sounded like No Effects. And this band, like if you can get through the first song without hearing the influence, like I'd be shocked. Because that nasally vocals, they have that the phaser effect on the guitar, which No Effects was doing at the time. Frankly, these guys kind of overdo that, but take that like No Effects skate punk style and like merge it with like late 90s Fearless, like Bickley and Beefcake, and then sprinkle in a little more pop punk, and that's what you're gonna get on this album. My picks from here, definitely Worst Case Scenario is good. The Wrong Side, and I think Time Out was the single. I don't know if a band with, what do we say, 34 monthly listeners has a single, but I think that's the one they were pushing at the time. That was the clip that was out there. But I'm gonna play a little piece of Worst Case Scenario. I think if you like No Effects, you like early 2000s pop punk, you're gonna dig it. Dylan, what do you think?
'Cause I know that, you've been calling today.
I have no fucking clue what this is, but I'm gonna check it out along with all the other stuff that you showed me that I haven't heard before.
Yeah, I think they're from Norway. They're definitely from somewhere in Northern Europe, but
They're from Europe.
yeah,
I gotta
dude.
listen to them then.
Yeah, I think this is my only Europe one. Yeah. Denver Harbor would be California. The Fad is New York. Mute is Quebec, right? I think Quebec. No Motive, I have no clue. Sounds like an East Coast band. I would guess Pennsylvania. And then, yeah, Darling Daisy from Norway. Those are our picks.
Mr. Worldwide.
This is a stacked episode, guys. So make sure you click the link down below. Check out all these songs. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you want to see more of these. It's already 7. So you've got 70 songs down in that playlist. So use it. It's a valuable resource. Trust us. But Dylan, anything else you want to say before we wrap this one up?
No, man. I mean, thanks for having me on again. This is fun. I really like turning people on to new bands or lesser known bands. So that's what I do a lot on dyingscene.com. So yeah, definitely check these albums out. I'm gonna check out the stuff John showed me that I haven't heard before. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
All right, guys. See you next time.